I love seeing the light in somebody's eyes when they really hear and they haven't heard for so long. I just love being able to see people very excited about hearing better.
We never forget our fallen. I'm Bill Reynolds. I'm Director of Veterans Affairs. I write stories of our local veterans. I interview them, I collect their photographs.
I knew that my efforts here were never in vain.
And now we're shifting gears to do a video series so that you can meet these veterans up close and personal.
Some shrapnel came into my lower left leg. It fractured my fibula in 7 places.
Please join me in honoring these great Americans.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Dick Ramsey was born Halloween night, 1923, in Brooklyn, New York. At age 18, he listened as tragedy struck on December 7, 1941.
We heard a bulletin and that the Japanese had attacked Pearl Harbor. Where's Pearl Harbor? We never heard of Pearl Harbor, but that was our first indication that a war was going to be on.
I ask that the Congress declare that since the unprovoked and dastardly attack by Japan on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
Dick knew he must do his part, so he began working on the USS Iowa.
I saw it launched. I was on board as a civilian crew member from Brooklyn to the Bayonne shipyards and back to Brooklyn.
Soon, Navy boot camp was calling his name.
When I got to boot camp, which was in the Great Lakes Naval Training Station up in Chicago, they asked for volunteers, and there was 200 of us that volunteered for submarine service. And we were kept together as a unit, and they shipped us out to California. A couple of weeks later, a couple of trucks pulled up. We thought we were going to go to sub school, and we went to the Mare Island Navy Yard, which is down under the Bethlehem shipyards.
Dick's assignment was to man a 5-inch anti-aircraft gun mount. 3 days after boarding the Nevada, the mighty battleship was retrofitted with even more anti-aircraft guns.
We pulled up against this big, it looked like the biggest battleship in the world, and actually it was the smallest and one of the oldest, the USS Nevada.
The USS Nevada was chosen as Rear Admiral Morton Deo's flagship for the Normandy invasion.
The bombardment fleet, which is the Nevada, Texas, Arkansas, the Black Prince, and some other ships of other navies, we had already taken to sea, and some of the transports started to pull out. The weather turned very bad. Seas in the channel were very rough, high waves and high winds, and we had to come back. And we waited till I got a better report on the weather. And June 6, Eisenhower said it's a go, so that was very early in the morning.
Dick witnessed the Normandy invasion and recalls seeing airborne troopers parachuting and saw many shot out of the sky. Terrible sights that he will never, ever forget.
I was part of the ammunition train, and it was necessary for that type of gunfire. In fact, the Germans commented after the war that they didn't realize we had that kind of gunpowder. We left the States, we went to Pearl Harbor. We got a magnificent welcome, because it was the first time that Nevada was back to Pearl Harbor since December 7th. And we left Pearl Harbor with a large fleet. We went to the island of Iwo Jima. We were there 16, 17 days. After about 4.5 days, they reported that there was a flag raised on top of Mount Suribachi.
A week later, they embarked into the South Pacific to battle Japanese forces that had taken numerous islands.
Okinawa was a formidable place for us to take. It was the bloodiest battle we had in World War II. The Navy had more casualties on the sea part than the people on the beach. We lost, I think it was 34 ships. We had over a couple hundred ships, more ships damaged. We had over 10,000 casualties in the fleet alone. And all of a sudden, a new type of weapon was used on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the war's over, just like that, bang. I mean, it was ecstatic.
Once the Japanese surrendered, the Nevada returned to Pearl Harbor and was ultimately sunk while used for target practice by the U.S. Navy. After serving 34 months on the USS Nevada, Dick was honorably discharged January 25, 1946, and returned to his home in Brooklyn, New York.
I still use this work ethic today. I mean, if you're going to do something, you got to do it right. There's no right or wrong way. It's just the right way. And Navy, you learn to take orders. You learn to give orders. You learn to react. You don't procrastinate. You do immediately. Good, bad, or indifference, whether you made the right decision, you react. And this was always my way of life. I always did things the hard way, if I had to, but the right way.
Dick Ramsey, a true American patriot.